Hey, what's up guys? It's Jake aka Tag, and today we're breaking down the best ways to counter Graveyard. Because Graveyard gets on top of your tower in a matter of seconds, it's super important to have a game plan going into the defense. Hopefully the pro tips and tricks that I share with you guys today will help you defend a lot more against Graveyard and increase your win rate. And if you guys end up enjoying today's video, make sure to sauce out a fat thumbs up on the video so the YouTube algorithm recommends it to more people. Without further ado, let's jump right into the tips. No matter what Graveyard deck you're facing, the number one tip is always activate that King Tower. You can activate King Tower with Tornado with this placement against Electro Wizard. With all the new Graveyard Barbarian Hut decks, it is so important to activate King Tower with those two Barbarians walking right towards your tower. And of course, any unsupported melee unit like a Knight is an easy King Tower activation as well. Just for comparison, take a look at how much an unsupported Graveyard does if you do not have King Tower activated. Now check out when you have King Tower activated and you have the Princess Tower and the King Tower chipping away on those Graveyard Skeletons. Absolutely no damage taken. That's insane. Obviously, that won't be the case when your opponent has a tank for the Graveyard, but you guys can see the comparison is pretty drastic. You're going to be able to play way more aggressive, and they're not going to be able to punish you because their win condition just doesn't pack any more punch. Next up, let's talk about how you defend against Graveyard in single Elixir compared to double Elixir with any bait units. In single Elixir, Graveyard plus Poison Push is going to cost 9 Elixir, and if they drop a tank in front of it like they most likely will want to, that's going to be another 2 Elixir with either an Ice Golem or a Barb Barrel. So if they drop an 11 Elixir push, there's no way that they're going to be able to defend their tower in the opposite lane. So one of the best defenses you can do in single Elixir is rush opposite lane and then force them to spend Elixir on whatever you spam. If you drop a Bandit or a Battle Ram or a Hog Rider in the opposite lane, they will not be able to afford to go for a defense and go in for a Graveyard plus Poison with a tank. If they try to defend your Hog Rider, your Battle Ram, or your Bandit, they won't have Elixir for the Poison on top of your bait cards, and it will be an easy defense. Your bait cards are swarmy with a high attack speed, and they'll be able to eliminate the Graveyard Skeletons with you taking minimal amount of damage. And if they don't defend and you guys trade towers, you're in an incredibly favorable situation because when Graveyard has King Tower activated, they're going to lose the game. They will not be able to break through with those Graveyard Skeletons when King Tower is activated and you're in a 1-1 situation. Another pro tip is whenever you're dropping a ranged unit to counteract a Graveyard, you gotta mix up the placements. You can drop your Archers, your Musketeers, and your Goblin Gang in so many different placements that your opponent will not be able to preemptively poison. If you always drop it in the same spot, you're gonna get prediction poisoned by your opponent and it will be a sad time. They'll get a lot more tower damage on you and you won't be able to defend successfully. You can drop your ranged units above the tower, closer to your King Tower in the middle, or below. Mixing up your placements will keep your opponent always guessing, giving you more time to keep your units alive against the poison, giving you a better Graveyard defense overall. One of my personal favorite placements is dropping my units near my King Tower. If they go in for a poison and they miss and fat finger it, you can activate King Tower and win the game right then and there. I know it sounds stupid, but even at top 200 ladder, this sometimes does happen. And sometimes just the fear of activating King Tower with a poison makes them delay their poison a lot longer, keeping your units alive, saving you so much more tower health against the Graveyard. In double Elixir, when your opponent can safely drop their Graveyard, tank, and Poison Push, make sure to drop your bait units directly on top of their tank instead of on the Graveyard Poison. This will allow you to finish off their tank quicker, retargeting the tower from the tank to the Graveyard Skeletons. For example, if it's double Elixir and your opponent has enough Elixir to poison and you drop your bats right inside the poison, you're getting 0 value from them. However, if you drop your bats on top of their Knight or their tank, you can swiftly eliminate the Graveyard tank, allowing your tower to retarget onto the Graveyard Skeletons. And if you're playing against Graveyard and you don't have poison as a counter, you need to save your small spells to clean up the Graveyard Skeletons as they accumulate. One of the biggest mistakes that I constantly see on defense is not saving your small spell and waiting the 2 or 3 seconds and logging too early. Too many skeletons will accumulate afterward and you're just going to take way more damage. If you wait 2 to 3 seconds for Graveyard Skeletons to accumulate on your tower and then you log right after that, you will save yourself a lot of damage. This concept applies for Barb Barrel, Snowball, Log, and Zap. Most of the time when your opponent drops a Graveyard, they're going to have a tank with the Graveyard, so the Skeletons are not going to be targeted by your Princess Tower. If their tank for the Graveyard crosses the river, the Graveyard will get so much more damage because your tower will be so busy focusing on the tank instead of the Graveyard Skeletons. But if you stop their tank from crossing the river and tanking for the Graveyard Skeletons, you will minimize their damage. If your opponent has an air tank for the Graveyard about to cross the river, which is most commonly going to be a Baby Dragon, you can stop it in its tracks with a Mega Minion. The Mega Minion will give you a +1 Elixir trade and allow you to focus focus down the graveyard skeletons with your Princess Tower. If your opponent has a ground tank about to cross the river, most commonly going to be like a knight or a battle healer, stop it in its tracks with anything on the ground like an ice golem or a mini P.E.K.K.A. They'll have an unsupported graveyard that your tower will be able to help focus down, and your defense will be so much better. And if your opponent's running a win condition tank like a giant, make sure to tornado it back over the river. The tower will retarget from the giant onto the graveyard skeletons, and then the giant will be completely useless. The giant will also have to walk back the distance that it was tornadoed, giving you way more time to damage it down. And in some situations, if your opponent's running a tank like Ice Golem, you can stop it from crossing the river with a tombstone. And if you have a really long ranged unit like Dark Goblin, Princess, or Magic Archer, you can drop it completely away from the graveyard so you give them no poison value. For instance, if I'm running Magic Archer plus Wall Breakers and I have Magic Archer and Bats, I'm dropping my Magic Archer same lane as the graveyard behind my King Tower and my Bats right on top of the graveyard. The Magic Archer will not walk up into the poison, and they'll have to pick between either poisoning the Magic Archer later or poisoning the Bats right now on top of the graveyard. They'll either get a massively negative Elixir trade with the Magic Archer still being able to chip away on top of the graveyard skeletons, or they'll wait for the Magic Archer to walk into alignment, waste the entire graveyard opportunity, and take a massive negative Elixir trade. The same placement can be applied for Dark Goblin, but Princess is special. Princess, you're able to drop in the opposite lane, and she's still able to hit the graveyard skeletons. Lastly, if you're running an Elixir Golem deck, a Graveyard deck, or a Golem deck with Battle Healer, you're going to have a great time against Graveyard Poison. Typically, Night Witches and a lot of your graveyard counters will just die to the poison. However, if you drop your Battle Healer before you drop your Night Witch, it will heal up the Night Witch and whatever cards you drop inside the poison. Every single time that the Battle Healer is hitting a skeleton, it's going to be healing everything around it. It will heal back all the damage that the Night Witch is taking inside of the graveyard. So that's why you drop it first, and if you do that, you'll get great counter push and you'll keep all of your units alive. All you have to do is make sure that you drop your Battle Healer before you drop any other card on defense against the graveyard, so the heal is already in effect, healing whatever they poison. And that's actually where we're going to end today's video on how to counter graveyard. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you did, make sure to let me know by saucing out a fat thumbs up on the video. And if you're not already, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. And I just want to say I appreciate each and every single one of you guys that's been supporting the channel by using creator code SirTag. Your guys' support has helped a lot, and I've been able to dedicate more time to videos just like this one, so I don't know what to say besides thank you. I just really appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for chilling with me. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.